So I kind of want to just have a little chat about weed, because I spent a long time of my life. I gave a lot of my life to a city plant that we call weed, and I regret it in a way. Now this video isn't going to be me bashing weed and saying how like you need to stop now, whatever. But maybe you are a bit addicted to it, or you do it too much, or you're just generally interested to know kind of like what it was like to basically live your entire life around this substance. I tried weed very early on in my life when I was young. I maybe was only like 12 or 13 at the time. I went to a friend's house, and then there was a few other friends there, and one of the lads managed to get hold of some, and we were all smoking cigarettes, and I tried a few pulls of it, and it really chilled me out, and it really just made me like quite hyper as well at the same time, and I really liked the feeling and the effect of it. And then from then onwards, I was just trying to get it as much as I could. Now, weed scientifically isn't addictive. There's no addictive compound in it as far as I know. So it's only mental, but you do get dependent on it for sure. Like I can tell you now that if you smoked it every single day and then you stopped and went cold turkey, you'd be feeling the effects of that. So there's definitely some addictive element there for sure. But yeah, I mean, my life revolved around weed to the point where I was even selling it at one point, and I got arrested for that, and I went to court as well. And I'm really glad I did get arrested, because that would have sent me on a path. Because they say, weed is the gateway drug to other substances, where I might have been selling cocaine or God knows what. And yeah, I'm definitely glad that I did get caught when I was younger with it, and that kind of stopped me in my tracks. Now, I don't think weed's completely bad. I definitely don't think it's as good as sort of like what these celebrities and other people will say. Now, the thing is with weed is that it makes you lazy. It doesn't make you motivated. Don't get me wrong, there is people out there that will smoke some weed and they'll become really artistic or creative. Like that is possible for sure. The thing is with weed, it affects everyone differently. But majority of people are going to feel like tired, lazy, like not going to want to do anything. You're not going to be motivated. And the problem with society, I think, with weed now is that you've got people like Snoop Dogg or Joe Rogan, like even Elon Musk was smoking weed on Joe Rogan's podcast. And it kind of glorifies weed, because the thing is, if you said to your kids, that are in their mid-teens, you caught them smoking weed, and you're like, if you smoke weed, you'll be a loser, like don't do that, like etc., and like really bash it, they'll turn around and be like, well, Snoop Dogg is successful and he smokes weed, or Wiz Khalifa or Joe Rogan or even Elon Musk was smoking it. And it's like, it's hard to argue back to that. But the thing is that like most people that smoke a lot of weed that are successful, they probably had a time in their life where they didn't smoke the weed and they just knuckled down on becoming successful or focusing on their career. I find it very hard to believe that there's anyone out there other than maybe Snoop Dogg that has actually managed to become very, very wealthy and successful and be waking up in the morning, having a smoke, or throughout the day or in the evening. Of course, there's going to be exceptions to the rule, but that's the problem with glorifying weed, because actually it's not going to be like that for most people. I can tell you now, I know a lot of people that smoke weed, and every single person I know that smokes it in huge quantities, they're not like millionaires, they're not super successful, they're doing okay in life. But there's something to be said there that people that do have such a like excessive use amount of it aren't where they probably want to be. And like I said, I'm not here to bash weed. I'm not here to say that it's really bad, because I will still smoke it sometimes. Like I'll admit I'll still smoke it. Now, this is where I feel like it can actually be used in a good way. Is, let's say it gets to the weekend and if you go out with your friends, or if you just go out with whoever, and you're going to drink loads of alcohol and you're going to be feeling crap for the next 2 days, or you might take other substances from when you're drinking and that leads on to something else, but you actually stay in and just have a little smoke. I feel like that's a much better decision to do. Where it becomes a problem is when you're waking up in the morning and smoking it, and and you're literally dependent on it. I mean, like, I remember when I would come home from work years ago, and I would just be like, right, I've got to go to the gym, or I've got to go and do a food shop and like do some chores around the house or the flat or whatever I was living in at the time. And I'd come home, the minute I smoked a joint, I just couldn't be asked to do anything. Like, I would literally go out of my way to do the least amount of work possible from the minute I've smoked that joint. You know, I just wanted to sit there and eat junk food. You know, like, if you're trying to get in shape, it's going to be super hard because it's just going to make you crave sweet food. And it also makes boring things really fun. You know, like, I could smoke a joint back in the day and I could sit and watch EastEnders throughout the whole week. You know, you couldn't pay me to watch EastEnders now. I'm not saying that EastEnders is terrible. Actually, I am saying that. But what I'm saying is that, you know, it doesn't fire you up. It doesn't give you that any like motivation to go and like do something different with your life, or just go to the gym or exercise, really. And, you know, if you are addicted to weed, it's going to be quite hard to stop it, because the minute you do stop it, you're going to start having dreams and stuff again, because when you're smoking a lot of weed, you do actually stop dreaming. It's not good for your sleep, despite what people say. You know, like, obviously, if you don't smoke it a lot and you have a smoke of weed, you're probably going to get a nice sleep. That's, yeah, of course. But if you're smoking it all the time and your body gets used to it, you're not going to be having great sleeps at all. And it used to make me chilled out when I'd smoke it, but it wouldn't make me chilled out when I didn't have any. You know, if it had been a long time since I'd had a smoke, I got very irritable and I got paranoid. My anxiety was through the roof. It got to the point where I couldn't even smoke it around people that were smoking it as well, because I just felt so anxious. And the minute I smoked it, I could feel that my brain was just going into like a negative state, even though I wanted to be sort of cheerful and happy and whatever. So it does get to the point, it's not always enjoyable. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be hard to quit if you are trying to. And what made me quit was the fact that it didn't make me want to change my life or do anything with my life the minute I'd smoke it. It would also bring up sort of maybe like negative or like trauma that's happened in the past. It would come into your head and really make you think about things, and you're just like, why am I sitting here thinking about that? You know, don't get me wrong, there was times you'd smoke it and you'd have a laugh with your friends or whatever, and you'd like watch a film and be like really engrossed in it and whatever. But yeah, I mean, quitting it is hard. You need to have a reason, really. For me, it was like fitness and anxiety. You know, like, I knew I wouldn't be able to go the next level with my fitness if I'm smoking this. Not necessarily for the fact that, like, obviously your lungs are getting filled up with tobacco, which isn't great, but it was just more the anxiety. I couldn't smoke and go to the gym, or it just made me so lazy. But yeah, like I said, I'm not here to bash weed and say it's like some terrible drug, because it's not. I think it's just fine in small doses, but being addicted to it is a real thing, and I think it's becoming a real problem now. And the fact that like the celebrities are successful that are smoking it, you know, you can't look at them and go, well, you know, like they're successful, and they smoke it all the time. You know, like, most of them aren't getting up in the morning and like having a wake and bake is what they call it, and smoking throughout the day. And, you know, maybe they'll have one in the evening after they've done all their work. Like, that's going to be the case for most people. But yeah, quitting it is hard. You definitely need a reason, because otherwise you'll end up just going back onto it. And my best advice would be to try and pick something that you physically couldn't do if you were still smoking it, and then, or maybe just kind of cut down slowly. Like, if you smoke 3 a day, maybe just cut down to like 1 a day. And then just how I managed to do it is I did that. I started smoking less. I was smoking every day. I started smoking less every day, and to the point where I managed to just smoke it on the weekends. And now I have a control and a grip on it where I could go 6 months to a year without smoking it and it wouldn't even bother me. Or then I can go to Amsterdam, or I could get some and just have a little laugh with it and just have a bit of fun. But it doesn't have a hold on me like it used to. So I know it's not easy trying to quit any addiction, but like I said, you definitely need to figure out what it's going to be, what it's going to take for you to be able to stop it ultimately, because it will change your life if you can get a grip on it. And at the end of the day, it's a plant as well. So it's like, do you want this plant to have control over you? I know I certainly don't. I don't want anything to have control over me. Like, I want to be in control of everything. I'm a control freak. But no, it's more just, I didn't like the fact that I couldn't say to myself like, oh, I'm not going to have a smoke tonight. I'm going to go to the gym. You know, it'd be that addiction in my ear would be like, no, you're going to sit at home and play video games and just smoke weed, and that's going to be more fun. But that's not what I want to do now. So yeah, that's basically sort of me just ranting about it. Weed's a tough one because a lot of people want it legalised and a lot of people think it's not that bad. And I don't think enough people are sort of saying about the downsides to it, because of just how society is these days. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.